The Logistics Organization for General Improvements have outlined 11 main points that they feel would improve the basic quality of life for all logistic players. Furthermore, also providing ways that these changes could be implemented so as to not affect the current gameplay loop too drastically. The state of logistics in Foxhole still has not improved, and with a lack of response from the developers, even with the pressure of the mainstream media outlets, a lack of response shows a severe issue with the game itself. But what are the main demands that LOGI is asking the developers for assurances of? Currently in Foxhole, the amount of time taken to pull supplies from a stockpile is excessively long, making a player sit there for up to 10 minutes to fill their truck full of supplies. An argument for this is the player is skipping time from making them to taking them from a public stockpile. However, it does just make the player feel like they are wasting their time with sitting there unable to do anything, with no option to cancel or end their interaction early. The changes to this that are being asked for is as simple as changing the value in the game's code. Decreasing the pull timer as well as adding a cancel interact key would be a huge change that is extremely simple to add into the game. Not only would this improve the quality of life for logistics players, but it would encourage more players to make public logistics instead of stockpiling in a private stockpile, further improving upon the crucial teamwork aspect of Foxhole. During the early game, there is a huge rush by clans to stock up on components for flatbeds, and depending on the tech tree, concrete as well. This continues throughout the war, making clans camp at component mines and fields, hoarding them. Furthermore, the toxicity and protectionism that some members of the community have when scavenging from component mines and fields leads to unpleasant encounters and arguments that are detrimental to the health of the game and the community itself. There are a couple of fixes for this. Fix 1. Change the cost of flatbeds to BMAT. This will alleviate some of the stress from comp mines, however it will increase the strain on salvage mines. This is a benefit as it makes people scrap more, further pushing the tech progression system forward, whilst also easing the pain of camping at comp mines. The second fix is to make a flatbed type vehicle that can only accept small crates, similar to that of the truck upgrade. R1 Haulers is the starting truck, yet to upgrade the vehicle, you are able to decrease the slot by 1 whilst also increasing the overall speed of the vehicle. In case of the flatbed, you start with a smaller flatbed, which is only large enough for small containers, and you upgrade it to the current flatbed as part of the upgrade tree. Currently, the normal factory will hold completed orders for up to 30 minutes. Past that point, they are removed from the private queue and released to public. This removes the ability to store the completed crates into a private stockpile. The solution is that extending the timers to be approximately 24 hours. This allows for a simple yet effective way of providing the producer with peace of mind that their order is going to be reservable. There are many reasons why players may step away from the computer for 30 minutes, be that a visitor, taking a break, or spending time with the family. Punishing players for wanting to take a short. The current options in a factory for output is private, squad, and public. Whilst private and squad are both reservable, it limits the number of players able to collect the order on your behalf. Especially for larger clans like 82DK or 141CR who have large logistics branches, this could be especially beneficial. A simple solution to fix this is to add a regiment queue. It will allow more players who are outside of your squad to work together on logistics, as well as to permit more people to collect supplies on your behalf, allowing for a solid flow of logistics. Foxhole Logistics Loop consists of driving to the front line with supplies and then redeploying to the region that you came from. Containers do not currently allow for closed loop logistics, usually being taken to the front and then abandoned. Implementation of a reason to return crates to the storage depots and seaports would prevent the stockpiling of frontline vehicles and containers that currently plague the game. As I briefly touched upon in the last video, Foxhole this war currently has all of its logistics in the back half of the map, specifically close to the southern front. Although this is mirrored to both sides, it does cause issues due to a lack of supply in the north. Having players travel so far to provide supplies leads to faster player burnout and less players overall. Yet again, this fix is extremely simple, keeping the option for mid to frontline refineries and factories to ensure a more consistent supply of resources to the front, whilst also preventing burnout from long distance haulers and lorry drivers. Uncrating crates in the stockpiles does not intuitively cause the materials to stack. Instead, they sit in slots they were the crates in and take up space. The simplest fix is to allow a smart stacking system, a button that auto-sorts the inventory, or allowing the player to click and drag to put them in one stack. With player ports becoming a more integral part of both factions, it is becoming more and more clear the refinery queue is far too small. A simple fix for this is to increase the size of the refinery queue. Allowing the player to queue up more resources at once is a great way of furthering teamwork, as it will allow one player to refine materials whilst others work on scrapping and the manufacturing of weapons and materials in the factory. When clans are organising operations supported with artillery, 100 crates does not go very far, especially since each crate contains 5 shells. During large defensive or offensive operations, it is very easy to burn through 500 shells very rapidly, especially when it is a huge clan operation. Forcing players to make multiple reserve stockpiles is definitely not the way to bypass this. To fix this, there are 2 solutions. The first solution is to increase the amount of shells per crate and increase the cost of the crate to even it out. Whilst increasing the capacity of the crate to 10 doesn't sound like a lot, allowing the player to store 1000 shells will allow for more freedom of use of artillery for both sides, not only making artillery more of a threat, but also allowing for less trips with trucks to supply operations. The second option is to increase the amount able to be stored in a private stockpile. Increasing the capacity to, say, 200 instead of 100 would yet again allow the storage of 1000 shells. Although increasing the amount of journeys to get them to where it needs to go, it is a great trade-off for increased personal storage capacity. Early game snowstorms are a pain to deal with. Neither side has yet to have winter gear because of tech, and neither side has the BMATs or diesel to mass build fire pits, thus leaving players and vehicles to freeze in the cold. Disabling early game snowstorms and allowing for an in-game weather forecast system will allow players to prepare for snowstorms and allow them to also build up bases with some semi-secured supply lines. With the increase in map size and the wars getting longer, it is no surprise that players are bugging out more frequently, burning through their 3 unstocks per war very quickly. Make it about 5 or 10 per war, due to the wars being so long, reaching 3 to 4 weeks, or having a weekly refresh would be a better way of doing it. All in all, the 11 demands aren't demanding of a lot. Foxhole as a game has an amazing community built around it. However, the current quality of life issues are beginning to turn many new players away from the game. There is many issues in Foxhole, but specifically within logistics. Instead of adding new things, it may be wise for the developers to begin working on the quality of life for current players to keep the current player base, and to bring back many of the old players that have seen the current issues in the game. Personally, I don't see the issue with how LOGI is going about this. Not only that, but the mainstream press coverage the game has garnered in the recent weeks marks a positive growth in players, albeit for the logistics strike. But anyway, I thank you all so much for watching, and I shall see you all in the next video.